Hello, Dr. Tariq Bin Hendi. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. So last time we met, actually, I was in Dubai, and you came to speak to our delegation about future prospects of our relationship between Israel and the UAE following the signing of the Abraham Accords. But I have to admit that I didn't expect that the results will be in the field so soon, and with you establishing ADIO, Abu Dhabi Investment Office in Tel Aviv. Can you talk a bit about the purpose of this institution and what are your plans?
Yeah, of course. And again, it was a pleasure to come and speak to you and the delegation. I think it was a testament to how quickly things have progressed in terms of both the discussions as well as the materialization of opportunities. And for us as the Abu Dhabi Investment Office, we were established by the Abu Dhabi government in early 2019 to drive that promotion, attraction, and ultimately the facilitation of businesses looking to come into Abu Dhabi. We've identified the opportunities that exist here in Abu Dhabi, and we know where it is that investors, depending on their background and sector, can come and help develop some of those areas for their growth and prosperity. So that's our primary goal, is to make sure that we facilitate those discussions and that we take ideas and conversations and turn them into executable businesses on the ground here.
Do you have already some deals in your pipeline? Have you met Israeli businessmen?
I can tell you we've met a lot of Israeli businessmen and women. It's been very impressive to see the level of interest in what it is Abu Dhabi has to offer, as well as the reciprocal conversations in terms of the opportunities that we see on the ground in Israel in terms of creating this collaborative environment. So yes, some very, very in-depth conversations, a lot of Israeli enterprises and individuals actually looking at what it is that's on the ground here in Abu Dhabi and how it is that we can help them. And we're hopeful that those conversations are going to materialize into actual businesses on the ground very, very soon. So it's been very positive.
What are the primary sectors that you are identifying as most promising?
So we as the investment office really facilitate and cater across the economic environment and ecosystem in Abu Dhabi. We have various programs for key sectors that are within our mandate in terms of the innovation and technology associated with those sectors. For example, agtech, consumer medical goods, healthcare, biotech, advanced materials. We're looking at anything that can help us drive efficiency, innovation, and that's technology-based in terms of being both disruptive as well as constructive. And we think that Israeli companies have a lot of potential to come here to Abu Dhabi and really benefit from the opportunities that are on the ground here. Equally, we have some very core developed sectors here in Abu Dhabi that we believe that we can export that knowledge, expertise, and eventually investment into Israel to help grow some of those sectors. For example, logistics, hospitality, oil and gas. So there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of discussions now, and we're converting those conversations now into actual plans for business development.
So you're thinking about joint ventures or some establishing of plants and factories in Abu Dhabi or in Israel?
So we as the investment office, we're agnostic to the company. We just want to make sure that we help them with their business model, with their business case, and we help alleviate any concerns or questions or considerations that they have in terms of the setup in Abu Dhabi. And I can give you an example of this. And whilst it's not an Israeli company, but it was an international company that we were working with to come and set up here on the agtech side, they had questions around policies, legislation, capital. So what we did was we helped them set up. We understood what they were trying to accomplish after we reviewed their business plan. We looked at the land. We looked at how it is that we could help fund part of their CapEx and OpEx requirements. But more importantly, we looked at how it is that we could connect them within the ecosystem in Abu Dhabi so that they could generate leads, they could generate contracts, they could look at offtake agreements, and they could grow and expand into the region, which is one of the key priority elements for us when we're discussing opportunities with businesses. It's not just about Abu Dhabi and the UAE, it's about our access into the wider region as well that provides quite a bit of opportunity to Israeli companies.
You're speaking mainly about Asia and Africa?
So I'm talking about on a global level. I look at this from an Asia perspective, India, the wider MENA region, as well as sub-Saharan Africa. The UAE prides itself on the long relationships that we've built and the very solid relationships we've built across the globe. And we want to make sure that our Israeli counterparts that come and set up in Abu Dhabi, like hundreds of international firms that have set up in Abu Dhabi, are able to use us as the hub to grow into those markets.
Okay, great. Have you been to Israel since the signing of the agreement, or at all?
Not yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. We've been having a lot of interesting conversations with our Israeli counterparts, and I'm really looking forward to it. What
surprised you the most about Israelis since you're contacting them and having the relationships with them?
I think we share a lot of business values. I think we share a lot of the common purpose in terms of how it is that we can accomplish these economic goals that we have. When we look at the ambitions that we have, when we look at the curiosity that exists on both sides. And I think what we're doing today is we're taking that curiosity, we're converting it into solid conversations, and we're putting plans in place to make sure that we execute on those initial discussions. So I can tell you just over the last 2 months, and I mean, even since you were here on that delegation, there's been massive progress with discussions as well as with the ability to execute on those discussions. So it's been really, really interesting for us in that sense.
It's really interesting to hear, but what do you think are the main gaps in expectations in the culture within the Israelis and the Emiratis? What the Israelis doesn't get about the UAE?
Well, I think considering the relationship is new, it's going to be an education for everybody. And I think the more conversations that we have and the more questions that are asked, and this is important, I want to drive that message home. Please ask as many questions as you want. That's really the core of what we do. We want to answer those questions. We want to make sure that they understand what's on the ground, what's not on the ground, and what it is that they can do. So there are many examples of this where questions were asked about, well, you know, if we come and set up in Abu Dhabi, what does it mean for us in terms of growth? To questions about the culture and so on. So I think, you know, for us, it's actually really interesting to have these conversations and vice versa. It's very good for us to understand what it is that is on the ground in Israel so we can help direct our investor base here to exploring that and talking to the right people. So again, questions. Please keep asking them and let us help you with the answers.
So I understand there is a huge interest on the Abu Dhabi and Dubai side for Israel. Does it exceed your expectations or in line with them?
Frankly speaking, I don't think I had expectations beyond the excitement of what this potential relationship and the opportunities that presented itself with this relationship. And so what has exceeded my expectation is the speed and pace with which we've engaged with one another. We had a lot of hope for how it is that we could progress this, and we're starting to see that materially come into play, and it's been really, really fantastic from our side.
Great to hear. So just to sum up, what do you think is the economic potential in numbers for this relationship now that you have seen the last months and the speed everything is working?
I mean, if I think and I look at this realistically, this has the potential to be a multi-billion-dollar relationship between Israel and the UAE. If I look at how it is that we build bridges with our other trade partners, we look at this always from a scale perspective, but we want to make sure that it's resilient. So we don't look at this from a transaction perspective, we look at this from a partnership perspective. So the quantum is important, but so is the long-lasting relationship that we build with one another. And so I think there's a lot of potential. We are already seeing some of that potential materialize, and we want to continue to develop that relationship.
Great, Dr. Tariq Bin Hendi, thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to meet you here in Tel Aviv.
Same here, thank you.